Banana slam jam.
Absolutely, and yeah, the talk of the town will indeed, as Sensei, be the Clinks, because we don't see him that often. And Brian, we'll talk to you more about that Clinks.
Thank you, Shiver. Today I want to show you guys exactly what Ame did to make Clinks work so well. And it looks like once he gets that level 7 time, full arrow barrage as well as the ultimate available, he starts playing around the mid lane. And this is going to allow him to drag creeps into camps. And he does this all game, where he farms creep waves and creep camps with a single use of his first spell. And notice how he's also going to be spending this entire early game stacking his own Ancients, which is very unique for a carry. We see him at 9 minutes doing it. We see him at 10 minutes doing it again. And he's all building up for the time that he gets this Maelstrom. And once he gets this Maelstrom around the 11-minute mark, after stacking it one more time, now is the time to clear this Ancient stack. This is exactly what we have not been able to see out of Clinks in the past. As we fast forward through this, every use of his first spell, he's going to continuously bring down the stack. Ends up using 3 of them, but it only takes about 45 seconds to clear a 6 stack of Ancients, which is crazy. By the 15-minute mark, he had, or 16-minute mark, he had farmed 10 camps of Ancients, which is insane if you compare that to heroes like Medusa and Sven, because in the past, they were known for out-farming him. But look at the net worths, 20 minutes into the game. Clinks and Medusa, Clinks out-farming a Medusa. He has hit his Scotty timing, which allows PSG.LGD to smoke up. And notice how Nico Baby has not quite gotten his yet. This is going to be the difference maker here. As LGD, both teams want to hit this Scotty timing, but they get the smoke off first, and this is going to allow them to get set up on the map in a superior position, as we see that we have already invaded the triangle and established a high ground. So this then, Nico Baby, not necessarily in the most ideal position. He has to push out this mid wave so that their smoke isn't super obvious. And this is going to be the fight that breaks open the game. And a lot of this, as much as it does come down to teamfight execution and LGD getting really good initiation here, comes down to the fact that the Clinks was able to hit his timing earlier than a Medusa. And up until 7.30, that's just something we've never seen before.
Indeed, thank you very much. And Trigov, I'm just curious, because we talked about the draft. After the draft, we said Alliance had a slight edge in that draft. We thought they were gonna outperform PSG.LGD this time around. Obviously, didn't happen. Do you feel like it was a drafting issue? A little bit of surprise by the Clinks and the damage that the Clinks put out?
I think it was just a little bit of surprise of the fact that, when Clinks comes in the mid lane with, Skadi and everything at 20 minutes. And also that key fight that Brian, broke down, I think Alliance just wasn't ready. We spoke about on the panel, the Venger damage mitigation. Sand King, he barely lives, simply because of that and the Lotus Orb. So I think Alliance was just taken back by that 20-minute fight into then a commanding lead from PSG. So yeah, just one fight really just stopping Alliance from really playing any Dota.
Brian also would like to talk to you about something. It's going to be mainly Clinks and a little bit of Undying.
Thank you, Shiver. So this time around, LGD drafted Clink's overall first pick. So Alliance got to show us exactly how they wanted to deal with it. So in the lane, Clinks is a hero that purely relies on right-clicking, and so they punish that by picking Axe with the Battle Hunger, combined with the slow from the attack speed on the Phoenix, making it so that he can't remove it because his sole source of last hitting is that right-click. So he takes 200 damage already, level 1. Then the next best way to deal with Clinks is that he needs creeps to protect him, because he's a squishy ranged hero if he wants to attack you. So S4, super early on in the game, starts cutting creeps, doesn't even lane anymore. And this sets up for Hanskin to use his own creeps as a way to push Ame underneath his own tower and bully him. And then they can use this aggressive fort where S4 is cutting the creep wave and use the creeps to protect themselves. And they're going to dive Ame super early, something that Clinks, despite having the burning barrage that gives him wave clear later, certainly lacks early on in the game. And there's not much you can do about this. So they did a great job punishing him in lane. And this is him already having to jungle at level 5. Then we saw last game how much Ame used the Ancients. And so Alliance, F&G setting up a deep ward 9.5 minutes in. They had drafted Omni-Knight Sven. So not only did they counter Clinks in lane, but they also countered him in the overall pace of the game, as well as the way that Ame got off the ground in terms of farm. So this is a really cool concoction by Alliance in order to shut down the Clinks' game. However, what they forgot about was the Chad Undying, which is something I never thought we'd see. But with that level 10 talent of the 50 decay, plus the decay doing double damage to creeps, you see here that he's going to be able to clear an entire creep wave in a matter of seconds. So now, because he can clear all these creeps, he's going to have that Ag Scepter super early on in the game, despite an atrocious game so far for the entirety of LGD, down by 10k at 27 minutes. And we mouse over Flesh Golem because it gives you 50% strength amp, which means that your 10 decay that you, or 10 strength that you steal per decay turns into 15, which if strength gives you 20 HP, that means that each time he casts decay on any hero, he's going to gain 300 health. So he goes from 2100 health as without ulting to over 3000 the second he ults, and these decays are going to stack up really fast. Now we're sitting at 3700 HP. The rest of his team, he's the dog in the burning fire. You know, the world around him is going crazy, and he's just saying, it's fine, guys, as he has 4,000 HP 28 minutes in the game with virtually no items. And this is when the decays really show themselves, as he gets 300 HP flat no matter what HP he is every time he pushes that button. And even though they're at a huge deficit, they're able to turn around. This is the beginning of what leads to an epic LGD comeback, and I look forward to seeing a lot more core Undying. Thank you, Shiver. You guys may have noticed that Crystallis on the Sven was trying to come back throughout the course of the game, and that's because he got off to a rough start. And I want to emphasize Collapse's use of God's Rebuke as a threat in order to secure as many CS and denies in lane as possible. So here we're going to see this range creep getting low, and Collapse is going to posture forward a bit, making Crystallis scared to go for the last hit. That's first example. The next example is Collapse constantly threatening to finish off creeps with the God's Rebuke, and also making it so Crystallis doesn't want to get hit by it as well. Excuse me here. And so what's going to happen is he constantly keeps multiple creeps low, making it so Crystallis doesn't want to give him an efficient use of the God's Rebuke by getting 2 CS as well as a hit onto the hero. As you see here, him faking the ability, making it so he doesn't even have to use it at times, but yet he's securing free farm and denying Crystallis at the same time. And here's a really cool body block by Collapse on a range creep, making it so the Crystallis can't get past him. He's going to end up getting the deny. Another really cool play by Collapse on the laning stage. And then here we're going to see it again. And Crystallis is going to go for this creep, and he's going to pay the price. You've seen why he's been pump faking this entire lane, as he gets 3 CS, and through the use of his Soul Ring, basically paying no mana to do about 400 damage to Crystallis. We'll see here another creep that's getting low. He's going to go on Crystallis at the same time. He's going to use the God's Rebuke to push them both away, and then turn around and get the deny. And then after all these efficient trades, he's going to have a 500 gold net worth lead over Crystallis at just 5.5 minutes in. And once again, Crystallis is going to pay the price for going up to the creep wave, thinking that he wants to be able to contest, but Collapse constantly posturing aggressively, and they're going to be able to, after the wear and tear of the entire laning phase, kill Crystallis at 5.5 minutes into the game. And it just shows that even though the hero isn't necessarily popular in this meta, at least in terms of the win rate, that when you're a master at it, it's still going to have a good win rate.
Yeah, and then extra credit, of course, to Creepwave, who after that disastrous start for the Sven was able to create enough space for Crystallis to make a comeback and to have a little bit of a shot of a comeback. And we saw the Keeper of the Light Storm is like an old-fashioned. They brought it back and they made it work, and Brian is going to tell you exactly how they did that.
Keeper of the Light being such a popular pick, you have to ask yourself, like, is it really broken enough to first round a Storm Spirit? So I thought I'd really see to quantify how much mana Toronto Tokyo's getting in this game. And I think one of the biggest issues with Storm is that in the early game, he has to choose between farming and fighting. But that's just not the case when you have a Keeper of the Light on your team. So we're looking at Storm right now, 11 minutes in the game. He has a total mana pool of 1050. And we see that Coddle's third spell does 260 mana. So that's how much he got already, 260. Now, he just turned that farming into a kill in the mid lane right here, where he's going to be given another 260 mana from Miposhka, and then he's going to be given 180 mana from Mira's mana boost. So we're now sitting at 700 mana given to Toronto Tokyo when he only has 1,000 total. So he's going to turn that previous kill into another kill, no breaks. He's going to turn that kill into another kill with another 260 mana given to him, which is 960. After that, with the regen rune, which he used to get from 0 mana to full after farming, he's going to zip on top of the bottom lane, where he now has another 180 mana given to him from Mira. So that is a total of over 1,000 mana given to him at the between the 11 and 13 minute mark. And then after all those kills, normally Storm Spirit would have to go back to base, but instead he's just going to be allowed to farm again. So the beauty of this Coddle plus Storm Spirit combo, which gave Team Spirit so much momentum, is that not only does he get to farm, but he also gets to kill people.
Yeah, and he killed a lot of people, so many people even, that some of our commentators say that it would not have mattered what Yatoro would have played. We're going to talk to him right now and ask him if that is the same thing that he felt. Hey, Yatoro, first of all, congratulations on the series. Also very happy to see the cat ears back.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
And did you hear what I just said? That the commentator said, you know, Yatoro getting the last pick, Terrorblade, great, but that game, that second game you just played, you could have played Crystal Maiden for all they cared.
Yeah, maybe it's my best hero on +1. It's Crystal Maiden, of course.
I would love to see that sometime. Now we're also going to listen to Brian, who has some smart things to say, as always.
Thank you, Shiver. Beast Coast is one of my favorite teams to watch because for some reason I'm able to look at the kill score and the net worth, and it's almost always in favor of the other team, but somehow Beast Coast ends up usually winning these games, but obviously this one being a rare exception. But this is the secret to what they do. So Alliance with a very heavy team fight lineup and the lead, they always want to be grouping up. They're always on the same part of the map. And the key to Beast Coast's success is that they are always pressuring the other lanes. You're going to see here that Chris Luck as well as K1 on the top lane while the rest of Alliance has to bring a hero. They have to separate. They have to stop forcing the objectives and forcing their lead. You're going to see here that Alliance is trying to exert pressure on the tier 2 top, taking a team fight. A lot of teams, they just bring 5 heroes here to try to fight back, but we're talking about Beast Coast here. Instead, Hector is going to pop his Metamorphosis in order to take the tier 1 tower mid. It kind of helps explain what Effie said, where Hector's still at the top of the net worth despite the kill score. And at the same time, Chris Luck, who had died in the fight top, is going to TP bottom and force Nico Baby to go deal with that. So Alliance constantly being split around the map, not able to kill Whisper because they don't have enough follow-up damage. And now they're going to take another tower, and they'd love to go further, maybe high ground, maybe tier 2 mid, but instead Limp has to TP top to deal with the pressure. And as the panel mentioned, that all it takes is if you buy enough time, it takes one fight. You now have 3 items on your cores, BKB, Scotty, Sanjay on your Terrorblade, and all you have to do is mess up once when you constantly have the split push pressure, and this is the chaos that Beast Coast thrives on. They end up losing 3 on the side of Alliance after trying to turn it, but that BKB for K1 being clutch stalled up the game just long enough. And the thing about it is, all game, Beast Coast does the same thing. They're just pressuring top, and Alliance is going to try to respond to it. And this time, you may say, man, that looked like an absolutely free Roche, but how is Alliance supposed to know that after the 20th time of doing the same thing, Beast Coast is now just taking a Roche? And this is exactly how they made the game last so long, and why we end up having so many chaotic, fun games.
I do like chaotic fun games. And I think this one Alliance will very much like as well, because it ended in their victory, of course. And that is important because these group stages are all about these victories, because in Group B, what we're watching right now, there's still so much possible for the teams. Yeah, and with Whisper on the Leshrac and Schofield on the Nyx Assassin, that offlane, that's what Brian wants to talk about.
Thank you, Shiver. This offlane duo is one of Beast Coast's favorites. Despite the new patch, changes to the heroes, nerfs to Nyx, the combo synergy is still just as potent as before. So Nyx is a hero that provides vision and lockdown, but lacks that extra damage. And Leshrac is a hero that provides all the damage and just needs to be protected while he plays aggressively in lane casting his spells. So you're going to see how they utilize this synergy. Schofield consistently going to be scouting out, and if they ever catch somebody slightly out of position, FMG didn't really look like he was that far out of position here. They're going to get chased down with the double stun. Schofield will miss it this time around, but either way, it's good enough to get the kill. We're going to see the same thing here. Whisper trying to take the tower. Schofield going to loop behind and scout out for him, allowing Whisper to also chase. Notice how Schofield's making sure there's no reinforcements coming from Alliance in their own jungle, providing the ward, just saying, hey man, I got your vision, you can run up as aggressively as you want. And we're going to see it here again. Schofield's been scouting. this entire time, and this is one of the most crucial plays of the game. Game's about even. Limp's going to TP bottom into the Lesh stun, and Nyx is there ready to follow up. This is a 3-on-2 in favor of Alliance in terms of the numbers, but the kill result absolutely not in favor, as Nico Baby is going to get chased down, and I want to point out that Whisper is going to die to the tower here, and Stinger, in his role, could have pulled aggro off of Whisper if he had right-clicked. Even though you are not able to right-click while you are in the role, notice how if you do right-click an enemy hero, the tower will start attacking you. So even though the Nyx and the Lesh had each other's backs, Stinger, just in case, step it up next time, buddy.
Oh, Brian is harsh.
Guess one Liquid sponsor now starts piping up about Stinger doing one right click.
Yeah,
they won the game,
won.
Brian.
Hello.
Jeez.
Hey.
They killed the people too.
Hey,
European bias.
Guys.
Bias J.
hey, you stop that. Brian increased my MMR by 3,000.
Using promo code BSJ.
Easy.
Easy.